Sensationally silver, because you are.
Welcome, everyone, to Sensationally Silver, A State of Mind, conversations with extraordinary, ordinary persons of age, people who are going to bring you information, inspiration, and validation. Join us. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Sensationally Silver, A State of Mind, conversations with extraordinary, ordinary persons of age. My guest today is indeed extraordinary. She's Candace Wheeler. She's a spiritual psychologist and a seminar leader, a former talk show host, and lots of other things. Welcome, Candace.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Ever since I met you, things have been popping.
We had fun when we met, and
Yeah,
it's been
yeah.
a nice, I don't know, melding of personalities, I guess. So, Candace, I'm going to ask you the question that I ask everybody who's my guest on this podcast. How old are you?
I just turned 81.
What's that like, being 81?
Well, after being 22, it's kind of hard. Now look at me happy about it. I'm surprised.
Well, that's the thing. We kind of get conditioned to think older is not so good.
That's
And
right.
there are some things that aren't so good, but there's some things that are wonderful. So we're going to talk about that a bit. How old do you feel, Candace?
That's a great question. 42? Maybe I was going to say 36, but that's stretching it. But there are times when I feel 36, there's times when I feel 42, and there's times when I feel 85,
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
in all
depending on
reality.
yeah. Yeah. I generally feel about 35 if somebody asks.
Okay, then maybe I'm not stretching it. Okay.
No. And I know when I dream, I'm always 35 or under.
Oh,
Talk about wish fulfillment.
yeah.
Um, I want to ask this question. Candace, have you ever told somebody you were an age you weren't? I mean, like I used to lie about my age when I was a teenager. I'd always say I was older.
No,
No?
no, not at all. In fact, when somebody would ask, I was so proud that I had come to a place where I was okay with that age. In fact, it was like, look at me, I'm old, this old, and you're going to be surprised. And they would stop and say, wait, what? And I was always waiting for that. Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. That because that's a compliment, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Well,
Yeah.
look at you. That's what I said when I met you.
I think we both did. It's like, okay, we can be in good shape at this
Yeah,
age with all these miles on us.
that's a good way of putting it, all these miles.
Well, I figure we're in this body is a vehicle for, in my opinion, the soul doing this internship
Well
on Earth.
said. Well
Yeah.
said.
And the vehicle, like any other vehicle that we drive around, it gets some wear and tear on it. And it needs a lot of maintenance as it gets older. So, oh
Much more,
well, it's
much
just,
more when the older you get. Wow.
yeah, it becomes such a factor that we have to deal with pretty much almost all the time. So, what is the most challenging thing for you about being a person of age?
The fading and failing of my Earth bodysuit. I've been given this and it was strong, it was beautiful. I've been on ads, on commercials, and it was serving me. And then suddenly, with our culture, which does not accept the person of age all that well, I used to turn heads and now I'm invisible. So that's difficult to go to the grocery store and I'm invisible. So I have to say, hello, who are you?
It's funny. You feel like they could almost punch a fist through you. It's like we've turned into
Right.
ghosts or something. It's
Yes.
true. To younger people, we are invisible. Yeah. I have a friend who says her least favorite phrase is when someone looks at an older woman and says, "Oh, she must have been beautiful when she was young."
Oh, oh,
Yeah, grr. We don't like
The
that.
pain went through me right
Yeah.
there.
Ouch. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And indeed, I was at one time, and I did not, I'll be very honest. I let go of so many opportunities because I didn't believe that that beauty was real.
Mhm.
I let go of a lot of fame and fortune just because my self-esteem was not that wonderful.
So no
No,
matter what other people were feeling when they related to you, you were thinking you were fooling them or they were
exactly.
mistaken.
They
Mm.
were mistaken. They didn't see what I saw.
Oh,
And obviously my eyesight was messed up because now, and you and I were talking about when you look back at photographs when you were young, you go, oh, gorgeous. What was I thinking?
yeah. My mother said, never get rid of your photographs, even if you don't like them that well, because when you look back, you
Yep,
have a whole different opinion about them.
totally.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, tell us some about this life you've had because it's had a lot of interesting facets to it.
Yes, it has. Um, I worked really hard not to go down the rabbit hole when I started judging myself for being old. I worked with it really hard.
At
And
what age did that start, Candace, when you
when did that start? Well,
the fight?
absolutely. That's it's perfect. Just before I was 79 going into my 80th birthday. And 80 held something for me because my dad told his younger brother when he was 62 that he was not intending to live past 80 because he knows his body's going to wear out and it's not going to be pleasant. It won't be a good picture. He died just before his 80th birthday. So I took that in on an unconscious level. And so as I'm leaning into 80 and there was a big family celebration and, all the beautiful experiences, but I was dreading 80. But on the other side, my mom told me that she admired this Grandma Moses. I don't know if you know who Grandma Moses is.
I
She was
do.
a primitive painter. At 80, she picked a paintbrush up for the first time in her life and became famous. So then there's that pressure. It's like, okay, now that I'm 80, what am I going to pick up? I'm not going to paint. What am I going to do? What's my purpose now? And that was part of my questioning as I was turning 80 is what the heck am I going to do now to top off everything that I've done? I've gotten to live through so many exciting careers and I had the time of my life. What now?
Okay, and what's the answer? Because
I was afraid you were going to ask me
yeah,
that.
I mean, we all want to know where are we going? I
Yeah,
feel kind of like that for myself doing this podcast is the big delight in my life. And I would never have thought, I didn't even know what podcasts were because I'm not very tuned into that whole thing, the computers and all that. I just don't
right.
do it.
Neither am
So
I.
it took me quite a while to figure out that this was something that I could do.
And that you would accept that you can do it.
Well, I knew I could do it because, like yourself, I had some history interviewing, doing a informational
Natural. It was
information.
innate.
Yeah, yeah, I like to talk to people and I love to hear their answers. So that wasn't too much of a stretch. And I kind of have the performance gene, so I don't get scared about it. But the idea at this age of having something to offer, oh my gosh, how fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's have your story.
Where do I start? I think it was when I was asked to write a chapter of a book reminiscent of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Several women were asked to write a chapter. And I looked at everything, all the choices, and I chose an experience in maximum security prison where I went in to do my video feedback seminar. And in the course of writing that chapter, when you're writing, you go into the moment, and I relived every single moment from the beginning of driving into the prison and seeing the coiled barbed wire stretching on forever and ever, and letting me in and having them have me walk through two iron doors that were that thick and they would bang shut with a thunder. And I literally couldn't feel my feet as I'm walking in. So what I'm saying is that I walked through a ring of fire before I got to the prisoners. And as I'm writing this experience, I'm reliving it for the first time because I pushed it out of my head. It was so profound and so mystical and so magical and so miraculous that I thought it couldn't be. So it went deep into my subconscious, far, far away until I'm writing this story and I'm reliving it, and actually for the first time. So as I got to, can I tell the story?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
I
Yes.
get to the room where the men are, right? There's 17 men. I'm already frightened. Um, and I'm standing in front of those men, and they were all crunched down in their seats, like with their arms crossed over their chest and their eyes cast down, looking very angry at having to do this. This is not something we want to do. When I walked in, they looked up for a moment, then back down again, and my fear just went sky high because who am I? How am I going to work with these people? And in that moment, I said, God help me. I'm terrified. I don't know what to do here. And in that moment, now remember, I'm writing this and I'm experiencing it for the first time. In that moment, I noticed my lips were moving, but my mind was not there. And I could hear my voice over here somewhere talking, but I didn't know what I was saying. And that was a little disconcerting as it was, but then as I was looking at the men, all of a sudden I could see images around each man. And I couldn't help but share the image. Like Bill in the back row was a tall, good-looking guy. And I said, there is a beautiful blonde woman behind you. Who's that? And he just popped up like instantly. He said, that's my wife, and she's waiting for me because she loves me dearly. And all the men in the room sat up and went, wow. So all of a sudden, there's this oneness in the room. And with each person that I saw and I shared what I was seeing, as each person came forward, like there was one who was a little short man, very kind of stocky and not gruff, but strong. And I said, I see you on your knees in dirt. I don't know what you're doing. Maybe there's some pots around you. And he lit up and he said, I've always dreamed of being a gardener. And when I get out of here, now that you're saying that, I'm going to do that. So there's lots of more stories, but what was important is that I got to see that I was given a special gift. And I've been doing it ever since with clients that I can see it in my mind's eye. That's claircognizant, there's clairsentient, there's all these different things and all the different gifts and telepathic and all of that. And I'm still not owning those. I'm still in the process, but I use them because my clients get to grow.
You get to give them a gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
And own the gift. See, I've never, until I wrote the story, I didn't own that gift. It became mine. And so I started looking back in my life and reliving my life and looking at it from that perspective. And at first I found like 15 different instances, and then I saw 30, and then I saw 50. I have counted 72 since I met you. 72 amazing experiences that have now changed my life, but I don't think I was ready to know it. I don't think any of us are.
That really makes sense to me. We tend to think it was just this odd thing that happened and we
Right.
just
A one-time thing, never going to happen again.
yeah. And then when there's that repeat or it's another totally inexplicable gift, we start, like you're doing, adding them up and saying, wait a minute. What does this say I can do? Who does this say I am? And what does it say I have to offer? And I love the fact that it started with you pretty terrified in front of all these men who were totally closed off to you, no way of penetrating that wall. You weren't just behind the prison wall, you were behind those heart walls. No.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then you ask, please help me. And this thing happens that you aren't even in control of. I mean, you said your voice was just coming out and you weren't even that aware of what you were saying. I love that as such a beautiful instance of how we get help when we just kind of surrender, usually through a lot of pain or a lot of fear or whatever. We just say, I can't do this.
Or
Help
ask
me.
for help.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
beautifully said. That is just beautiful how you rounded that out.
Well, this is
Thank you.
this is what I want to give to people who tune into this podcast, this extraordinary, ordinary person of age, not a big celebrity, but someone who's like the rest of us and yet unique as we all each are. And I'm hoping that people who are watching or listening today start taking their own gifts more seriously, the way you were just pulled to that point where you needed to.
Well said. I admire you so much for being able to conclude that and come to that conclusion. And I don't think most of us are not ready.
Why do you think that is? Why aren't we ready to embrace the
It's how
extraordinary
culture keeps us from doing that. Don't be big, don't be bold, especially women. It's not that I'm a feminist or anything, but we have to be very careful, especially in a male environment, about sharing the gifts that we have. So we couch them. And most of my clients are women who've been masking their gifts their whole life to make it in the male world. And I have a client who she's been with me for like 11 years, and we do a reading every week. And I use my gifts because she's comfortable with my gifts. And she has discovered her own gifts and has taken herself out of the situations where they are ignored and she's ignored and she's invisible, and putting herself and choosing to put herself into situations that she can win. She can be powerful and use all of her gifts.
So where those gifts are sought and where they're appreciated rather than either denigrated or ignored or whatever.
Which is worse.
Yeah. It makes us.
We're invisible again.
Yeah. 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 So how does that tell us a story about how somebody's life changes because you've interacted with them? And when you're saying you do a reading, I'm assuming, you tell me, what kind of reading are you talking about?
Well, I've been doing this reading for many, many years. Very famous person who was an architect, Buckminster Fuller, taught me this reading in Tahoe back in the 80s, late 70s. And it's a special reading and I've chosen special cards. They're very beautiful. They're very spiritual. And his layout covers things like the subconscious and the conscious, and what you're thinking versus what you're feeling, and your intuition versus what you are experiencing, and your past and your future, and what do you have to master? What are you looking at? What is your belief system that's keeping you stuck in whatever issue you are in? So when I do the reading, the answer comes up, and it has to be a very succinct question. And it can be 2 or 3 questions, but they're always answered in a way. It might be roundabout, but it's always answered in such a way that it gives you clues as to what is keeping you stuck in where you're not happy. And that becomes, of course, the person has to take that home and work with it. It's not that just the answer is going to solve it, because it needs release statements, and it needs meditation, and it needs intention, and it needs focus. So and she's learned how to focus over the years, and she'll come back the following week and that issue's Done.
So those questions, they sound like the kind of question you'd ask maybe once every 10 years, but you're saying no, you keep doing these readings.
Yes.
And it keeps unfolding so that who that person is changing really week by week. Yes.
And that's what I was going to say to you, that I'm still changing since I met you. That it's not the same story anymore. It's new every day. And I do readings for myself when I feel like I'm getting stuck, even on the minutest things. I'm to the point where the universe feeds back to me instantly. It doesn't wait an hour, it doesn't wait a day, it doesn't wait a week. It's like now. So I know when I have goofed and I have to go fix it. And that's what the readings do for me. They brought me to a place of being present, so present, and being so aware of my attitude and my beliefs and my judgments. I'll know instantly if I'm judging myself. I do something right away. I will sit down and say, okay, what am I saying? What am I believing here? If I don't do that, I will continue the issue and the pattern will continue. And that's why people come for counseling. They want to find out what the pattern is.
And those patterns have a life of their own. I mean, they've been around a long time. So moving away from that influence of those kind of concretized ideas we have that are so built into us, that, as you say, that takes effort. That takes,
It does.
I want to use the word application. We have to apply ourselves to doing something very contrary to what we're used to doing, thinking a way that's different from our usual da 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 that goes on in our head.
Well said.
Thinking, yeah, yeah. And that's a constant challenge.
And that's what living is about. It's a challenge every day.
And it occurs to me, Candace,
I could see you got something just then.
that as we get to this age, whatever that age is, 60 plus, we start thinking, well, I've had my turn. It's over. I can look back. I can see what the highlights are and so on. That's not what I'm hearing from you at all. What I'm hearing from you is that pace of self-discovery can speed up because,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, scary.
Oh, but in an exhilarating way, right? I mean, what's to lose at this point? We're not as afraid of being embarrassed anymore. At least I'm certainly not. It's like, what is to lose? What's at risk? It should be fun. Where's the discovery here?
And where's the curiosity?
Yeah.
I think all those mystical experiences have made me even more curious. It's like, okay, where's the next one? Where's it going to happen? I'm open. You got to stay open to whatever is going to be there to come in.
So, in spite of the fact that for many of us, as we get older, this vehicle, this body, is beginning to disappoint us in some ways.
That's a good word, yeah.
It's not quite up to the strength and the physicality that it once had. There are still doors that are very, very important that can open. And if we're willing to redefine ourselves by what's ahead through those doors, we don't have to just pay attention to looking back. We can get excited about now. We can get excited about the future because this path of discovery is getting wider, not narrower.
You are a phenomenal teacher.
Oh.
Do you know that?
Well,
I'm serious. You've taken everything that we've talked about and you have expressed it in such a way that everyone that's watching goes, oh, that is so cool.
Well, let's hope so.
That's why you're here. I know, but
right.
I want to acknowledge you for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. So if you don't mind getting even more personal, what are some of the doors that are opening for you now at this age? We don't think that way. We don't think, oh my gosh, there's all this stuff ahead of me. We think, oh, it's kind of all over. So what's opening up?
Well, one of the things that happened in the prison was on the last day after they were all transformed, with the video feedback. They stood in a single line and they each gave me a little something to remember them by. And one guy did a portrait, which was really, he captured me totally. And remember Bill with the woman behind me, he gave me this little tiny flat stone that was in the shape of a heart. And he held it in the palm of his hand. He said, I have carried this in my pocket. I'm going to cry. I've carried this in my pocket the whole time I've been in jail. And I want you to have it. And collectively, all those men were loving me unconditionally. So one of the new doors for me is having been loved, having rewritten this whole thing, gone back and relived it. I got to experience the unconditional love. And what that brings about is celebration of loving oneself. It's a belonging. When after I was done with that line, I belonged to the oneness that was created with those men. And that created self-love, which is what we're all dying to have. Self-love is very, very absent here on the planet. I'm sorry, but
yeah, it is. It's really a struggle to get out of the way of our own judgment that we're not enough, that we're failing, that we have a history of things that haven't turned out well or whatever. And I can't imagine that anybody would assume that you could find unconditional love
in a prison.
in a prison. This level of acceptance, this level of giving, I mean, it's not where you'd go looking, is it? And yet,
And the fact that I have to just step in and say one thing that door that opened for me is I took responsibility for making that happen, which I never did before. It was like, it was a fluke.
so you accepted that you were the catalyst for that.
Had a part in it. I
Amazing.
had a part in it. Maybe I wasn't the whole thing, but I definitely had a part. It happened because I was there.
Yeah.
And the teacher who invited me to do this seminar in the first place, I asked him to be out of the room and the guards were out of the room. So it was only me. Nobody else was there. So yeah, so there's a gateway that opened for me, and the gateway is, oh my, what do I do with all this? And I'm still in the process with that one, with that question. And the answer comes every day when I talk to a client. I get it. Okay, more of that, but who knows what's next? But actually, it forced me to wake up to my gifts. And what I would love to do with this is wake people up to their gifts and know that what perfect time right now with this planet, what's going on our continent. We need people to wake up and to change the frequency from issue oriented to giftedness. And I would love to remind everybody that we are all multisensory human beings. We're no longer five senses. We have 50 senses going on. And if we could become comfortable with those senses coming in, I have a show and tell. Can I do a show and tell?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
It came up, I brought it out just in case, because as I was talking about that giftedness and the multisensory and how we all have that, every single one of us is wired to awaken. And that's what's happening on the planet. We are wired to awaken, and we need to help those who are not as wired as some of us and bring that frequency up. So at 16, and the reason I'm pulling this out is that it's hard to prove that mystical experiences. When do you have physical proof? Well, this is physical proof. So when I was 16, I drew a picture of my two little girls. And it's in colored pencil. 3 years apart. They're about 5 and 8, 5 and 7. It's hard to tell. And it was influenced by, remember McCall's magazine?
Oh, yes,
My mom
absolutely.
had McCall's, and I'm flipping through, and there's this photograph of these two little girls, and I went, those are mine. I want two little girls just like that. So many, many years later, I'm visiting mom and I'm up in the attic and I come across that picture, that drawing. It's got a tear in it. It has water markings on it. But it's down in the corner, right down here. It says Candy Wheeler. That was my nickname, living proof. So I walk downstairs with it and I look at my girls and I go, oh my God, it's my daughters.
Oh, oh my. Hmm.
So I took a
Even
picture of
posed
them.
the same way.
Yeah, well, I posed them that way,
Oh, okay,
just
okay.
just to put them together. So here you have the two together.
Mm, yeah.
So that's living proof that I held these little girls in my heart, and my physical body brought them in. That's mystical.
And perhaps you recognize those little girls as something that was coming to you too, you know?
That's it. That I could have gone to another dimension, like a fifth dimension, and I could have seen them as, yes, that's going to happen.
That's
I
good.
don't know. I don't know the answer to all that, but living proof.
Yeah.
I love that we can do that.
And whatever those, what we now call gifts, because we're not used to them yet at all, and not all of us can quite accept them. But any of those gifts, those talents, those ways of perceiving, they're just extra special. They get greater the more we practice them. And if we're afraid that people will look down on us or not believe us or think we're crazy or whatever, and we squash them, they don't get to expand. And I
That's
imagine we have those to be able to express them, to be able to make gifts of those gifts to other people, just as you did with the fellows in jail. You seeing the blonde, you seeing the man working in the dirt, all you were doing was reconnecting them with their own desires and their own life
yes.
back to themselves. That's what gifts often do. That's what readings often do, from my experience. It's
Mhm.
not like you're saying something that's completely ridiculous. The person goes, oh, yeah, that's what I've always wanted, or that's what I've always wanted to believe, or whatever it is. It rings true. We all have different things we want, different things we yearn for. But when we hear it, it gets to come up more into consciousness,
You get
right?
recognition.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
That's
know, I do want to address one thing when we squash it, because I squashed mine. But guess what? It stayed in there rumbling until smack, being asked to write that chapter, or smack, somebody asks a question and all of a sudden it just and it'll come out because it's always going to be there. If you squash it or not, it doesn't matter. It's still going to come out. You know, something I'd love to add on another element, and that is heart coherence. You know, that science has proven that the heart is more intelligent than the mind. And that's what I teach in my counseling, is to listen to your heart, because the heart has your truth. That's your truth. The mind has a built-in truth that's not really accurate. The heart is accurate. So when you have a coherence between the heart and the mind, which is very easily done by a breathing technique and the word gratitude. So being grateful for what you have now will bring in the ability to allow those gifts to come up and out. So I encourage people to be grateful for everything, including the wake-up calls, like my accident 3 years ago, or a stroke, or a near-death experience. I've had so many wake-up calls, and I've learned to be grateful for them because each one has a lesson that brought me where I am now, which I'm really grateful for, because I'm at a learning point now where I don't know where it's going to take me.
Life is exciting, and that's
Yes.
what we want. We want it to be an exciting adventure.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be climbing a mountain to be exciting. It can be-
Which I was doing. Yeah.
yeah, but
I'll admit it.
right, if we can't, we have other lots of wonderful other ways of being excited about who we are and what's unfolding. Wow.
And I have to tell you right now, your aura is really large around you. Sorry, I had to do it.
She can see all these things. Okay, so Candace, not everybody who's watching or listening today is going to get to sit with you and have a wonderful session with you. What can you say to the people who aren't going to meet you face to face and aren't going to have that special experience? How can you help them tune up and tune in to who they are? What's trying to emerge in their consciousness at this point in life?
Great question. Great question. Well, first of all, to know that we're all change agents. We're constantly being fed, and watch for signs in your life. That's what I do. I watch for signs. Don't you do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every little sign. What is that saying to me? But I'm going to go back to the heart. Listen to your heart. Ask your heart questions. And when you feel a judgment coming in, or you hear your mind saying something to you, do something with it right away. I forgive myself for judging myself as not thin enough. I forgive myself for judging myself as not eloquent. And then you say a truth, and you come up with the truth, and you listen to your heart. What's the real truth here? I am owning that I am eloquent. I am owning that I am plenty thin enough. I'm accepting that I'm okay. So that's one. And then there's the belief systems that get in our way. And the beliefs are, say, I release the belief that I can't possibly be a mystic. No way. No way. And I'm not going to stand up and say that. I'm only saying it here. I don't know what I am. I just know that I have these ability. So I'm not going to put a label on it. But there's this belief that I couldn't possibly be a mystic, and I'm not going to stand up and be that. And the truth is, if I listen to my heart, I have mystical abilities, and I'm not going to put a label on it, and I'm going to accept that. Does that help?
Absolutely. And what I'm also getting is that when someone is in the presence of someone who accepts that about themselves, that other person gets tuned up as well.
Yes.
The self-acceptance increases, but so does the gift. It's like that vibration. They kind of speak to each other and increase just from that presence, that idea. So all of you who are watching today or listening, you have this opportunity because Candace worked to get here to accept these gifts in herself as part of the package she has for navigating this world in this lifetime. We all have those special, extraordinary parts of us. And sometimes we get embarrassed about them or even ashamed of them because other people don't necessarily approve. Maybe they've been squashed about it too. So it's kind of a no-go zone. But let's let that be a wonderful place to visit, like visiting the loveliest park you can imagine. You just walk there, walk through it, let it be surrounding you and infusing you with light and with understanding. Because as Candace is saying, we need a lot more understanding these days. We need that consciousness, not of fighting against anything, but of including and loving so much more generously than maybe we've been able to do, maybe we've been afraid to do. If Candace can find that kind of love inside a prison from men who are all shut down, when she asks for help, we can all find that when we ask for help too. Right, Candace?
Yes. It's about bringing your frequency up. by being grateful, and it's be responsible for that frequency, because that will attract exactly what you need.
Gratitude is an incredible key to a
Yes.
good life. Whatever we pay attention to, we get more of. So the more grateful we are for whatever is good, the more goodness we get, and the more goodness we get.
Amen. You are phenomenal.
Well, that's not original with me, but I try to live that way every single day.
Yeah.
Part of my thing is to say thank you every day
Yes.
for 3 things that I haven't said thank you for before. And it keeps me tuned up
That's
to
cool.
goodness in my life. Yeah. Paying attention to that good. Ooh,
I
thank you.
start my day out with that. The first thing I do is compassion. Second thing is gratitude. And the last thing I do is forgiveness.
Ah,
I look to see where I need to forgive myself,
mm.
because we all do stupid things.
And it's
So,
much easier to forgive other people when we are able to forgive ourselves.
yes.
Much, much easier. Maybe it's just the practice of it.
Mhm.
Oh, we need to stop, Candace. I'm so grateful for you being part of this podcast, being my guest today. And I imagine anybody who's watching or listening is grateful to you too. So thank you
I
so
had a
much.
wonderful time. Thank you so much for being who you are.
Oh, thank you. And thanks to all of you for joining us today. Come back and see us again, okay? Bye.
Bye.
Sensationally Silver, A State of Mind, is sponsored by Sensationally Silver, a complete hair care product line created especially for people with hair like ours, naturally gray and white hair. Sensationally Silver products can be found exclusively at sensationallysilver.com.
Sensationally silver.